Good day, everyone. We are welcome once back again to the Delali Network, TDN for short, our live every weekend. And today I'm bringing to you two amazing Ghanaian colleagues who are teachers currently in the USA. They are on a J-1 visa and they would like to come on board to share their experiences with us. That is how they were able to navigate the whole job search process, how they handle their own applications, and how they got here successfully. So, my good brothers, that's Frank and Paul. You are welcome.
Thank you.
You are live on TDN, and we have over 20 people watching us currently, and I'm very sure the numbers are going to go up very soon. Okay, so if you
Thank
can kindly
you.
introduce yourself to our listeners and our followers. Frank, you first.
Okay. I'm Frank. I'm a high school math teacher in Indiana Maths and Science Academy North at Indiana State, Indianapolis. I've been on J1 for 2 years. Yeah, I'm in my second year as high school math teacher. I do teach Algebra 2, Geometry. My first year, I taught SET Maths. So,
Okay, and Paul, over to you.
Okay, I'm Paul. I'm in Maryland right now. I also teach mathematics. Yeah. So me and Frank, we go way back, university days back
Okay,
at Winnipeg. Yeah. And even me and Delali, we go back to SHS days, right?
yeah,
Yeah. So I also teach middle school maths here in General Smallwood Middle School. It's in Indian Head in Maryland here.
okay.
Um, I currently handle the seventh grade math and then math lab 3. Yeah, those are the courses I teach right now.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we even delve into the main issues, I'll be glad if you can share brief information about what the J1 visa is about. Any of you can take it, either Paul or Frank.
okay. Oh, okay. So J1 is about exchange program. Mostly the US government connects to other international teachers, particularly those having an area in math, science, special education, early childhood, basic education, French, English. Sometimes they come to the US to exchange what they have or back home to the US government, and we're also required to also connect our student back home to the US students at annual basis. So basically to come here, share what we know as an cultural activity or cultural awareness of your country to that of the US citizen. Learn from them, their expertise, how they do things here, share back to colleagues back home at the end of the 5 years. The duration is 5 years program, but initially they will give you 3 years, then you go for extension of 2 years. So that's all about the J1.
Okay, Paul, would you like to add something more
Yeah.
to what Frank has said?
So basically, like what Frank just said, it is a cultural exchange program, and you come here on a J1 visa,
Okay,
and you're supposed to do 3 years for the initial stage of the program, right? So
okay,
you do 3 years, and during those 3 years, each year you're expected to present some sort of cultural activity, right?
okay,
So you connect your students here in the US back to students in Ghana, where they can learn about practices in Ghana, the culture, what it is like over there, the educational system, and then it could be anything that has to do with culture. They want to have get their students the exposure what goes on in other parts of the world, so they can be aware. So it's basically a nice connection where you just share ideas about where you come from, what you do over there, how is it different from the practices over here, and you can also share what you've learned here as an educator, right?
Okay.
So it's a nice experience. So you do the first 3 years, and you can apply for 2 year extension when you're done, and you can teach here for another 2 years, and you're expected to return to your home country when you're done after those 5 years to share your experience, everything you've learned over here back home. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. If you're watching us right now, we'll be very grateful if you can share the link to the various platforms you belong to so that the numbers can go up and others can join us and learn a thing or two from it. Okay, so Paul, can you give us a
Yeah.
brief overview of your educational background, the uni you attended, what you studied, and what class you finished with or your CGPA, if you can give us a brief information about that?
Um I read, for me, we went to the same high school,
Yeah.
that is back at Jaskine, somewhere now in the OT region of
Yeah.
Ghana. And from there I went to Winneba. I read math for my undergraduate, so I read mathematics education in Winneba.
Okay.
That was from 2014 to 2018.
Okay.
So Frank is actually a colleague. We met there at Winneba. We read the same program, and right after Winneba, I taught math. I taught high school math at Ghana for 5 years before I left Ghana. I also
Oh,
had an a master's degree in mathematical sciences. That is from the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences, Ghana.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And Frank, if you can also answer same, please.
Yeah, they also attended that there's senior high school in the Western North region. I'm from Inchi. Yeah, I met Paul during our days in UW, and we all studied the same course from 2014 to 2018. We were good friends on campus. We were in the same group, so that's how I got our that's my education background. I taught at a school at a Joso, just a bit like a private school now, government absorbed, called on me senior high school. I was just there. And I just got here. Yeah, I taught math like 3 years in Ghana before coming here.
Okay, so that means before both of you got to the US, you both had an experience working with the Ghana Education Service, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so how was the experience
Yeah, we
like
did.
when you were with the Ghana Education Service, Frank?
Yeah, it was a nice experience, you know. It was a nice experience because it was where I started. There was a lot of like it was a new school, government absorbed school, so I needed to leave some landmark there. So I had the opportunity of teaching both the elective maths and the core maths. I did my best, you know. So I enjoyed being a teacher in Ghana as well as they gave me the opportunity to teach all kind of the areas in mathematics that elevated me to this place, and I'm much grateful. Yeah, you know the rest in terms of salary and the rest, we cannot talk it here, but it was a nice
Sure.
experience. Yeah, I enjoyed being with kids in Ghana. Yeah,
Okay, so you never regretted your working experience with the Ghana
no,
Education Service back in Ghana, right?
no,
Okay,
no, not at all, not at all, not at all.
okay, okay. Paul, over to you too. What?
Yeah.
How was your experience like when you were with the Ghana Education Service?
Same feeling here. Taught a great number of students. I did after Winneba, I did my service at Mauli School Hall for about 1 year,
Okay,
and when I finished service, um, I was posted to Anglo Awamafia Senior High School. It's somewhere at Anyako in the Volta region. It's under the that is somewhere Keta Municipal.
okay,
Yeah. So I was at Keta. Oh, I forgot to mention. I think after Mauli, I did 1 year at Academy. It's also at Ho. It's a private institution. Before I was posted to Anyako, right? So I did 3 years at Anyako before I left. I just transferred to Mauli. I wanted to transfer back to Mauli, so I was in a process before I had this appointment, and I had to leave. So it was a nice experience. Taught some great students back in Ghana. Um, some of them I'm still in contact with. I get one. I currently have one here in the US. He's reading computer science.
Oh,
I
wow.
taught him back at Mauli School.
Okay.
And there was
That's
another also back home in Ghana who just finished his medical course. Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Then
So
you really made some few
it's,
impacts before
it's
you left.
now, yeah.
Wow.
I tried to get in touch with almost all of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So it was a very nice experience. Very, very nice experience back there.
Okay. So
Yeah.
whilst you were working back home in Ghana, did it ever occur to you that you wanted to come on a J-1 visa, or you were looking at other routes, or you were only focused on the J-1 visa, Frank?
For me, what will I say? I think mine was a divine selection because after the service, I was unemployed. So they
Okay.
created a group like how you have been creating a group. So there was one student.
Continue. I can
Yeah,
hear you.
so this is how I came about the J1. So after the service, I was unemployed. So I was just in the house. So those are completed the national service with. They created a group. Like whenever you see an opportunity, you posting there so that others can follow on it. So just then one guy posted like I'm looking for somebody who did maths in a university. I was like,
Okay.
maths? Okay, let me chat the person back door. So I chatted the guy and he said, okay, their sister is over here, wanted to bring him here as a teacher, but they needed maths teachers.
Okay.
So okay, then what is the requirement? So I got in touch to the person who was doing those kind of arrangements.
Okay.
And the person was also he also comes from Babiani, so we all speak the same dialect. And he said, okay, I'm also ready to help people from back home to come here.
Okay.
That's how I connected. So he introduced me to a J1. He told me that I will be coming to the US to teach. And I was asking him about, back home, you think of connection. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
how much am I going to pay? He said, no, there's nothing. I said, no, I don't believe this thing. There's no way you can go to abroad without paying anything. So, so I was like, this man, I don't believe him. I remember that guy who even gave me the opportunity now, I've not even seen him. So I was
Wow.
like, yeah. I was like, I don't believe it. So I was just in the village doing what they call a census. So
Okay.
right after my census, the training allowance, and this man called me to send him the money for me to process the credential evaluation. I was
And
like,
that's for your transcript evaluation.
yeah, transcript evaluation. I
Okay.
was saying like, how? I don't know you. How do I send 3,000 Ghana
And he
cedis?
was the same person who
Yeah,
told you this opportunity
yeah,
was
yeah,
available.
yeah, yeah. He was the
What?
one who's going to take me through the process. He has been on J1 for 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, no, I cannot send my money. So I was just there and something. Okay, let me give it a try. Besides this workshop money, if it's gone, it's gone. So as soon as I gave him the 3,000, he told me, okay, you can start the process. So that's all.
So
Yes,
the
I
three
never
thousand
knew anything
cities.
about J1. I never
So the
knew.
3,000 cities you gave him was
Yeah,
actually just for your transcript
yeah, for my
evaluation.
transcript evaluation. Yeah.
Okay.
One of the
Was it a
days,
requirement for you to
yeah,
evaluate
it
your
is a
transcript?
requirement. This is a requirement. It's a requirement. So I
Okay.
paid the 3,000 and the evaluation was ready. And he gave me the website. Just go there and apply. So I applied in November. Come being so good. In January, I had a friend, some international friend from Zimbabwe and Philippines. They got some placement. I was like, why, God, what are you going to do at this time around? However, that time they were recovering from COVID. So the agency wrote to me like, hey, there were a lot of candidates, so I should relax. There's going to be my way or a chance for me to have an interview. I said, okay. So I was just there and I was like, hey, this thing, all my friends, those I knew had an interview. I have not gotten an interview yet. So
Okay.
I needed to put it into prayers. I gave myself 30 days fasting. So I just
so you fasted just because of
yeah,
reasons,
yeah. Because the
or you
person
were
who introduced
someone who was already spiritually inclined.
yeah, because the person who introduced me to the program after I did all the applications, I was thinking like he's going to grow me. But later on, he told me like, hey, you're a teacher, so read by yourself. So I made a lot of friends, went online, did my own research. So basically left me like just go and bring an opportunity.
Okay.
So
So after the transcript evaluation was done,
yeah.
what were the other documents you added to the application you did? If you can
Okay,
mention
the
them, so that
transcript evaluation, the English proficiency.
hold on, I'm coming. I'm just typing to display it. Transcript evaluation. Then the English proficiency, right?
Yeah.
Proficiency. Then what else?
Transcripts.
Yeah, the transcript evaluation or evaluated
And we made
transcript.
transcripts, yeah, and your certificates.
Certificates.
Yeah.
Then what else?
Your resume or CV.
Okay. So that is your work or academic resume.
Yeah.
Which one? Work.
With the work, yeah. Yeah. So one from colleague, two from supervisors.
Come again?
Two from supervisors, one from colleague teacher.
I don't understand that.
Like two recommendations from supervisors.
Recommendation letters too.
Yeah.
Recommendation. That is three in all.
Yeah.
Recommendation letters. Three. And what else?
Yeah. I think that is all. And your resume or your CV.
Yeah. So evaluated transcripts, your English proficiency, certificates, your work resume, and three recommendation letters.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to display that to our listeners and followers now, so that they can have an idea about it.
Yeah.
So Frank is saying that when he came across the opportunity, he was asked to evaluate his transcript. So he did a transcript evaluation. Then he submitted his English proficiency. Was it just the letter from your university?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Then he also submitted his academic certificates, his work resume, and three recommendation letters. So let's take note. He said a recommendation, two came from
your supervisor, like your headmaster, your assistant.
So two professional recommendations and one academic. One came from your school, right?
No, all from your work experiences. Like one from.
So let's just say three professional recommendation letters.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. What of the English proficiency? Did you write like the IELTS?
No, not at all. Not at
university.
Not at all. Just the letter certified that you were taught in English back home. That's all.
Okay.
From the university. That's all.
Okay. Let me come to Paul.
Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah.
How did you come across this opportunity, the J-1 thing, the teaching or the exchange program thing? How did you come across it?
For me, I met some friends back at Ames, Ghana, where I did my master's program, and almost
so you have a master's from Ghana.
Yeah, I had a master's in mathematical sciences from Ghana, Ames, Ghana. So while we were on campus, I think most of the guys were talking about putting in these applications right after the program, so they can try something new, right? They can have a fresh new start for their career and so on. Yeah. So I got some of the link from most of those guys, and Frank also sent me a number of them, and I put in my applications.
Okay.
And what I realized for the process is you need to be prepared, right? You need to be prepared before you start this process. It entails a lot.
Okay, so what do you mean by like you need to be prepared? What does the preparation entails?
There is almost everything in life requires preparation, right? And we can say the luckiest people in this world are those who prepare in advance, so they are in a position to take advantage of opportunities that might present themselves in the future, right?
Okay.
So when it comes to preparation for this program, I think I'll put that into three folds.
Okay.
The first thing you have to do is the documentation preparedness. So you need to have your documents in place, and those are the things Frank mentioned earlier on.
Okay.
I
So,
think,
excuse me. Does it mean the
yeah,
documents Frank mentioned, you also just
yeah,
submitted same documents?
yeah. Those
You
those
didn't
are
add
the basic.
anything which which Frank didn't mention?
Okay, I'll say one important thing also is your passport, right? Because you are planning to travel outside of the country,
Okay.
and the legal document you need to possess in order to do that is a passport, right? That's
Okay.
like your identification. It links you, or it gives an identification or a tie back to your home country, so you should have that.
Okay.
And I'll advise that for your passport, you should you should make sure it has at least 3 years lifespan by the
Okay.
time you want to travel out of the country. It should at least have 3 years lifespan, right?
Okay.
So you can have your passport ready. When you have your passport, the next thing you want to think about is your CV or resume, because that is what sells you to the employers.
Okay. So, since you mentioned it, how did you tailor
Yeah.
your CV or your resume to meet the required standard? If you can share some brief information about that.
Good. So you are applying for a teaching job,
Okay.
and um, you want to share your experiences, your past experiences, your qualifications, your personal details, some achievements you've obtained in the course of your career. You
Okay.
have to list all those. Those are necessary ingredients for any good CV, right?
Okay.
Because there are two possibilities when an employer reads your CV: is one, to contact you and know more about you, or two, you are not worth the time, or you are not what we're looking for, right? So you want to put time into crafting your CV. Make sure you have a very catchy CV. you
Okay.
you list your work experiences, and it should be detailed work experiences. Maybe I've taught from this period to this period at this level, this number of students, these are my responsibilities, what I've done, right? You list your professional responsibilities, all that you've done in over that course of period, right?
Okay.
And once you do that, you should also specify if it was a full-time position or a part-time, anything of those form, because that's very important.
Okay.
They need to know you are a full-time class teacher they are handing the job over to, right? So
Okay.
you have experience in the field. So you should also list your academic qualifications, whatever achievements you've obtained in the course of your career. If there are professional development courses you've taken, you should make sure you list them as well.
Okay.
Um, I would say a maximum 2-page CV should be okay
Okay.
for you. Make sure you include every bit, right?
So
Every bit.
with the referees or the references, did you
Good.
list them on the CV or you just said they are available upon request?
You can list them. You can list them on the CV.
Okay.
But if you have other important things to put there, then you can just ignore, and probably you'll be writing reference letters anyway, and you'll be submitting contact details for referees as well in the application process. So you can
Okay. So
just,
Paul, to
yeah.
you again, after
Okay.
you put together all these documents, that is your evaluated transcript, your English
Good.
proficiency, your academic certificates, your work resume,
Yeah.
and your when you spoke to your recommenders,
Yeah.
how did you put in the application? Like, how did you know that, okay, this organization is recruiting J1 tutors or J1 educators, so I have to apply to them and I will be selected to come for this exchange program? If you can tell us more.
Okay, so as I said, you have to those come with the links that was shared by those colleagues and some by Frank as well.
Okay.
So there are lots of agencies out there.
Okay.
Some are government agencies, others are private agencies. And for most private agencies, when you are filing your application through private agencies, they charge you a fee, right?
Okay.
They charge you a fee for the services they are rendering to you.
Okay. So did
So
you file your application through the private agency or the government agency?
good. If you're someone like me and you don't have money, you don't have money to waste. If you don't have money to waste, then definitely you want to go with those more of public agencies that don't charge you any fee for your application, right?
Okay. Okay.
And I think I can recall about three of them offhand.
Okay. So can you mention? I want to type them and display them.
I know of Faces.
Like faces
Um,
as in our face.
yeah,
Okay. Uh-huh.
and I know of IAG. That is also one.
IAG. Okay.
Yeah, and I also know of EPI.
EPI. Okay.
Yeah, those are three that I know of head.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
those
So
ones come
if you're watching
at
us
full.
now, I've just displayed the name of three organizations. According to Paul, these are organizations he knows that they'll be able to select you in case you meet the qualification for the J1 exchange program. So faces, I've typed it there. IAG is also there. Then we have EPI. So when you just go to Google Chrome, you can Google their names, visit their websites, and put in your application if you meet the requirement. So Paul, among these
Yeah,
three you mentioned, which of them did you use for yourself?
um, I'll say it. You know, as the saying goes, you don't put all your eggs in one basket, right?
Yeah.
So you can try as many agencies as possible,
Okay.
right? Once you have the documents, so those documents are very important. Those are the basics for almost every agency.
Okay.
Those are the documents you need. So
Okay. So
once you have them,
just a quick one
yeah,
about the documents. The
yeah.
evaluation you used WES, right? World
Stamp,
Evaluation Service.
stamps.
Um, I use Spantran.
Spantran. Okay. Did you do the course by
Yeah,
course evaluation or a different one?
yeah, course by course evaluation.
Okay, so if you are listening
Yeah,
to us, according to them, before you even start, the first step you have to take is to do a transcript evaluation. And they used Spantran and they did a course by course evaluation. So if you are looking for an opportunity to come and work on the J1 visa in the US, which is an exchange program where an exchange visa, the first step you have to take is to do a transcript evaluation. Do they accept diploma in basic education or only a first degree and above?
You
Frank
know,
or any of you can take that from
oh,
me.
okay. Over here, diploma is for high school. For high school,
Okay,
so basically they need 4 years. The requirement is 4 years degree program. So
okay.
diploma cannot work. Yeah.
So
So you
does
need
it
to.
mean if I have a 3 year degree program, I
Mhm.
won't be selected? For example, with teachers, some of them have the diploma in basic education.
Mhm.
Then they would have to go to the university to do a top up if they don't
Yeah.
want to go through the
Yeah.
study leave route. Maybe a
Yeah.
top up of 3 years.
Yeah.
Would that be accepted?
Yeah, yeah, it works. It works. I have a colleague. We came together from Ghana. He was
Okay,
having a diploma. He did 2 years for Value View. I did it, and he's here. We are all in the same school. Yeah.
okay, okay, okay. Okay. So, Paul, how
yeah.
many organizations did you apply to, if you can recall?
Uh, I can even as at now. I still have some of them still mailing me about the status of my application. Right.
Yeah.
I've applied to a lot of. I've applied through a lot of agencies. I can't count at this point. So it's good not to put all your eggs in one basket. You
Okay.
apply to different agencies, and um, once you file in your application, you have those documents ready. You have your transcripts, you have your foreign credential evaluation, you have your passport ready, you have your CV, you have those reference letters, you have uh, I think even for some of the agencies, a driver's license is a requirement.
Okay.
A driver's license and a 2-year driving experience, right?
Okay.
So if you know how to drive home back in Ghana, you have a license that will help you over here. It will help with your movement for
Yeah.
you to move about easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Frank, concerning your application, you said you actually met someone on a WhatsApp platform and the
Yeah.
person introduced you to that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So aside that opportunity that the person introduced you to, did you personally also look for other
Yeah.
organizations and
Sure.
submitted some more
Sure.
applications?
So when I had the program and he gave me the link, he gave me only one. I
Okay.
expect to have many. I mean, a lot of friends. So through my J-1 journey, I had 8 schools being hired from the US, 8 good schools from
Okay.
different agencies. He introduced me only to EPI,
Okay.
but I did my own checks to have faces. I am not on this agency. I'm on one called Sagamo. Sagamo, that is my agency, Sagamo, Sagamore, Sagamo
I
Institute.
think you've sent that to me on WhatsApp. So let me
Yeah.
just look at
So
the
that's
spec.
my agency.
You can continue.
Yeah. So I did application on IAG, I did application on EPI, Faces, TPG. There's another one called TPG.
Okay.
Yeah. And I
So
also,
I've just displayed Frank's organization. He said
yeah,
Sagamore Institute. So
yeah,
you can just Google that
yeah,
or just put your internet on and type that and look at it if they have
yeah.
opportunities there. So let's say I go to the Sagamore Institute website.
Yeah.
How do I identify these J1 opportunities?
Or it will be just when you Google there, it will be there, they asking for application. But Sagamo, all the agencies have a specific state they do their placement.
Okay.
So Sagamo mostly place teachers in Indiana, Virginia, bit Ohio.
Okay.
Right. By EPI faces only place in South Carolina. EPI place it in North South Carolina, Virginia, Florida. So the
Okay.
agencies have been zoned or they have been given different state to place teachers. So for my
Okay.
agency, if you want to be here, you become closer to Indiana. Yeah, so when you Google, you see they are calling for application. But with my agency, in recent times, they changed the requirements. I was so lucky; it wasn't a requirement. They changed it last year. They are
Okay.
now demanding 6,000 to 8,000 US dollars, not a charge by a bank statement. Why? We cost it because when a lot of people came here, they were complaining. First month, I've not received salary. I don't have the means to go to school, so they've now made it a requirement. Like, hey, they want to see that money in your account so that your first month staying here will be simple for you.
Okay.
So that is about my agency for now. But when I was coming, it was not a requirement. Bank
Okay.
statement wasn't a requirement, but in recent times they've added it.
Okay. Okay. So after you identify these organizations, so once I go to like aside the ones you've mentioned, that is Faces, IAG, EPI, which I've displayed. You
Yeah,
also mentioned the one you are with currently, that is Sagamore Institute. I've
yeah.
displayed that as well. So after submitting these applications, what is the next step to take? How do you know that okay, you've been selected? You have to prepare for an interview before
Yeah.
you are selected. If you can give us a brief information about that.
Okay,
By
so
using your personal experience, Frank, then I'll come to
okay.
for.
oh,
Okay, for
okay.
me, okay, with my I started with EPI. I started with EPI. So EPI, what I did was they gave me after the application, they will go for an interview, primarily just to know the input you just enter on the system or to
Okay.
confirm them. And after that, they will just go through the deep interview by the job wise. Then you move on to your principal interview. So the principal interview is basically where the schools will be visiting their portals to look for international teachers. That's what I
Okay.
did with EPI.
Okay.
With Sagamoto, it is the same thing. We do initial interview everything in for an hour. When you qualify, then they'll be looking for school in Indiana for you. Yeah.
Okay.
But with second, sometimes they will let you write an exams or English proficiency exams to confirm how fluent you are in the language of
So
English.
did you write that English
Yeah, yeah,
proficiency?
it is on the website. Yeah, you take it.
Okay. How easy or difficult is it, if you can?
It is just a basic knowledge in English or grammar wise, and I think I'm proud of my teachers back home. If anybody sat on that, time will pass. Yeah, I know.
Okay. So it simply means that these applications that you are putting in, you know, you are not putting it directly to the institutions or the schools you are going to work in, but you are submitting the applications to agencies that will
Yeah,
rather select you. If you are a good fit, then they'll
yeah.
now do the placement for you and give you like an offer letter or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, because the agency have been that they have that what they call they are the visa sponsors. They can sponsor you on the visa. So they
Okay.
will just look for the candidates. Then they have a pool. Some of the agency have partner schools where schools here have contacted. Okay, every year we need international teachers. We and bring some.
Okay.
And sometimes they will look for schools here for you. So unless you pass the agency, they are going to be your visa sponsors. They are going to issue all the documents for the visa. So you need to pass through them before you can get a school.
Okay. So Frank, through the application process,
Yeah.
how much did you spend? Let's not talk about the visa application because we'll come there.
Yes, that's
Just
so
for the
much.
application process, how much did
Yeah,
you?
I think the only thing was credential evaluation, police clearance, base police clearance. It's not. I don't think it's up to 7,000 Ghana cedis because I was
Okay.
booked then. Yeah, only the credential evaluation and the police clearance. Yeah, I think that's all.
Okay. The credential evaluation, does it expire?
I think it is 5 years, right? 5 years. Yeah.
Okay. Because the reason I'm asking is with Canada to, if you want to do the express entry, you have to do the credential
Yeah.
evaluation. If you want to use your qualification back home and it expires after 5 years, you would have to do a new one.
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking.
Okay.
Okay. So Paul, let's come to you.
Yeah,
After you submitted your application, what is the
yeah.
next step you took?
Okay, so after submitting your application, that is where you go back into a loop. It's almost like you keep checking your email every now and then for any feedback or notification on your application. And while you do that, you also make sure you are preparing for a potential job interview, right?
Okay.
Because that should be your number one priority. That's why you put in the application in the first place.
Okay.
So
So
while
the waiting period from
yeah,
the time you submitted to the time you had an interview, how long did it take you?
well, it that also depends on what time you put in the application,
Yeah.
Okay.
right? For instance, what time of the year you put in the application.
Okay.
So, for instance, currently we're getting to the end of the school year,
Okay.
and mostly this is a time where most schools hire new teachers,
Okay.
right?
So can you mention the months so that our listeners and followers can know when to start putting in the applications? Like a range of months which they can start looking for these institutions and start putting in the applications.
Portugal.
Well, how it okay, that also will depend on the specific school district, because some school districts also hire in the middle of the academic year.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for most of them, it's usually getting to the end of the academic period so that you come in and start a new academic year with them, right?
Okay. So like
So they
which
can
month? If you can mention the months.
by over here by June the school year should be over, and you have your
Okay.
summer break for about close to 2 months,
Okay.
and the school year resumes somewhere in August, right? So if that is the case, then I'll suggest you put in your application maybe at the beginning of the year
So the
or
beginning of the year,
somewhere
that is somewhere
close
in January.
January, right? Or even right now, even when you put in your application now
Okay.
at this time, there might be a possibility you might get hired before even so you might even be hired maybe somewhere early into the next academic year, right? It depends on the school district.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I will not say I'll not specify a specific time,
Okay.
but I'll make sure, because that might depend
On which
which
agency you are
other
using.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would
So
just
Okay.
Okay,
You
I
can keep
would
going.
just suggest you need to put it anytime you feel like we are ready because I had a
yeah,
friend. It depends on the school district, like you said. Maybe throughout the year there has been a vacancy in that school. They are not even waiting for instance, in my school, they have some classes without teachers.
Okay.
Right. So even if you put in today and you are ready for the market, or if you are done with your part with the agency, you are likely to come. Especially somebody having a special education qualification. The person
Okay.
can finish the application tomorrow. The person and arrive at J-1, the last time you can use to enter the US will be November 31st, right? So I
Okay.
will tell you like, hey, it's always good to put in. You don't know what will happen.
Okay. So at your end currently, which agency can our followers and listeners use when they want to come to schools in your school district? Which
For
of
my
the,
school district,
aside
Sagamo,
from the Sagamore you mentioned, which other
Sagamo.
agencies should they look at?
Oh, Sagamo is a monopoly in Indianapolis. But still, I think agencies like TPG, IAG,
Wait, T what?
TPG,
TPG.
yeah,
I what?
IAG, like where Pearl is IAG.
IAG. Okay. What?
Yeah,
Which one again?
they are still receiving applications. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So these are some organizations you can look at when you want to get to a school district. That is, he said TPG,
Yeah.
IAG, and Sagamore Institute. And
Yeah.
he's saying that you can even check now from these agencies. You might be lucky the application period is still open by now. Once you have your evaluated transcript, course by course evaluation done, and you have a Bachelor of Education background, you can put in your application. Okay, what if I don't have a Bachelor of Education background? For example, I've studied BSc Psychology.
No, I think you cannot make it because over here the certification is very important. The reason why they want us to do the evaluation is that it's for licenses wise. So if you don't have any education background, there's no way you can be a professional teacher here. For those over here, they are allowed, but for us, it is a requirement. Supposed to have basis in internship, supposed to have your education internship, you have basic in what do you call it in education courses before you be selected.
Okay, what of work experience?
Work experience because
Is here required?
On J1 you need to have at least 2 years work experience.
Okay, so since you said you were not working, how did you navigate the work experience issue?
I was working, but it was a private school then. It was a private school.
Okay,
So it's
okay, so,
but it's not necessarily supposed to be a government school.
okay,
It could be a private
okay.
school.
Once it's an organization, you can get documentations to prove that, oh, I'm working with this organization back home as a teacher,
Yeah.
you are good to go.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
good. And please, Delali, I also forgot to mention one important document when you file in your application,
Okay.
which should be a valid teaching license back in your home country, right?
Okay.
So
Which
you
is
should
issued by
have
the NTC, right?
NTC, yeah.
Okay.
So you make sure you have an up-to-date teaching license back
Yeah.
in Ghana.
Yeah.
Okay. So does it mean when one doesn't have a license, automatically the person is disqualified from applying?
It depends on the agency. I would say it depends on the agency because now when it goes for J1, I can use for instance. I think when you went for the visa interview, they only asked for the where's your teacher license. That was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, they never asked for any teacher license. They never asked for any documents.
Yeah, but I'm
Then
talking of the agencies back in the US where you're applying to.
it depends. I think it depends. It depends. It
Okay.
depends. Not all, but most of them require your teacher license. Your teacher license or something to certify that you are a professional teacher at your own country.
Okay. Paul, so
Yeah.
after you submitted your application, as I
Yeah.
asked, how long did it take you to get an interview?
It took me almost close to a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll say almost close to a year because I submitted my application somewhere late December,
Okay.
and I had my first interview somewhere in August the next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So almost close to a year.
Okay. So during that waiting period, did you ever thought of it that, oh, this thing I'm just wasting my time, it's not going to work, or you never gave up?
And I had a job back in Ghana, so I was going to job every day. I was not so focused on what the outcome might be at that moment.
Okay.
So I just made sure I submitted all the documents. I got my feedback. I got a reply mail back from the agency that everything is intact, and they keep updating me that my profile is still in the system, so I should be expecting interview soon. They gave
Okay.
a timeline that passed. They gave a new timeline. You might get job interviews in this. So all you have to do is keep preparing. You have some spare time. When you get on YouTube, there are a lot of good videos on um, teaching job interview questions where
Okay.
you can learn about some of the questions employers ask during interviews. Most
Okay.
of them are more of classroom management, how you integrate technology into your teaching. Um, I'll say how you manage student behavior, because those are the most important things over here.
Okay,
You
Paul.
see, Frank
So,
is laughing.
so Paul, I asked
Yeah.
Frank this question, so let me also ask you. Let's not
Okay.
talk about the visa now because we'll come to that side. How much
Yeah.
did you spend for the application process before you got the offer?
The only cost I incurred was the credential evaluation up to that point.
Okay.
Yeah. And the credential evaluation, I think it was $190 for the course by course evaluation
Okay.
at that time. And even some of the agencies have links that you can apply for the credential evaluation through. And when
Okay.
you use some of those links, you might get a discount. You might get a discount on the cost. So, for instance, instead of paying $190, you might end up paying $150.
Which has still
And
saved you some good amount of money.
yeah, it saves you for $40, which currently is I think more than 500 cities.
Yeah, that's actually someone's monthly salary in
Yeah.
Ghana.
Yeah.
Okay, you've
So
answered this question already, but Ajekum Louis is asking again. So, can't you apply if you don't have the 2 years experience strictly? She's asking. Any of you can take that question for me.
No, I don't. I don't. It is a requirement for agencies, and I will tell you the 2 years is very, very important because if a fresh graduate and they put you into classroom year, it will be kind of. So I think that's why they made it that requirement. I think everybody need that 2 years, at least 2 years.
And I think you even clarified that you don't necessarily have to work with a government
Yeah, sure.
school,
Yeah,
even a private school.
yeah,
Once you are gaining the
yeah,
experience there and you have your employment letter,
yeah,
pay stubs to
yeah,
prove that, oh, you are working here, you've been
yeah,
working here for 2 years,
yeah,
and these are the evidences. When they verify from the school it's
yeah,
legit, it's genuine, I believe you are good to go. So
yeah,
even if you are done with school and you are
yeah,
not getting a job and you are planning to do this, I
sure.
would advise that you can find some
Yeah,
private school and
yeah,
work with. What if it wasn't a paid job? Let's say you were only volunteering. For example, you see, when you're done with school, you have to go for national service. Do they count that as part of the experience or the
I think,
main?
yeah, it
yeah,
is
yeah.
it
I
is
think
also work
there's that
experience.
experience from where you graduated, right? Where
Okay.
you graduated. So
Oh, then
I would
even
say that.
national, then that means national service is even going to give you 1 year.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah.
So you only need an additional 1 year to add
Yeah,
to that.
yeah.
Okay. 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 So, Paul, let's come to you.
Okay.
During the interview,
Yeah.
and you were given the questions, you responded to the questions. What happened
Yeah.
afterwards?
So
Were
when
you
when
confident of
you
the answers
have
you gave? Were you confident that, oh, they are going to select me?
for me, when I had my interview, the last few questions were uh, who was I bringing with me if they decide to hire me and stuff like that,
Okay.
right? So she told me she'll the following week, early the next week, she'll be sending a job offer for
Okay.
me to sign. So I knew right after the interview that probably they were going to send a job offer for me to sign.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I knew that right after the interview. Yeah.
Okay. So how long did it take for you to get a job offer letter after the interview?
Well, I think I had my interview somewhere Thursday, and the next week Wednesday, next week Wednesday, we just closed from school. We had a staff meeting. I was about to walk home, and then I received the notification also. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
through an email, right? So I know most people back, they don't check emails. Even me, I have some email accounts back in Ghana I've not opened in years.
Okay, so I have
Yeah.
a notification here from Richmond Poha. Proud of you guys. They
Yeah.
were my mates back in UEW.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We know him.
Richmond, yeah.
We know him. He was our
Okay.
classmate. Yeah.
Then before we continue, please, if you are listening to us now, we are live. We have over 70 people watching us now. Please do share the link and encourage your other friends, your colleagues, and even teachers to also join so that they can learn something from this discussion.
Yeah.
Because according to them, you can simply do it yourself. You don't need any agency from Ghana or anywhere. You can just do the applications yourself. Solomon Ejinim Boyton is saying, I have all the requirements and I have applied to about 5 agencies, but I'm yet to hear from them. What do you have to tell Solomon?
It depends. You should know the agency. I will tell him, or I will tell him to do a follow up, send an email. Sometimes
Okay.
who knows? Yeah. But please let me add this one. J1 also gives opportunity to bring a spouse. And if you have any kid who is less than 21 years, you can add a person. Yeah.
Okay. And what type of visa is your spouse issued? Is it also a J1?
J2, it's always good to be on the J2 is very, very important because we J1, we are just restricted to work with where you have been placed. By J2, have limited hours to work or your dependent or a spouse. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So Frank,
Yeah.
after you also applied,
Yeah.
how long did it take for you to get an interview?
As I told you, I was like a miracle, right? After I submitted the interview, I did everything in November. I had the interview in February. Right after the interview, the next 30 minutes, that was my first interview. Right,
Okay.
the next 30 minutes, I had a job offer.
Okay.
And I had another interview in March. Right after it, I had a job offer. Like,
Wow.
yeah, I had like eight schools. I had eight schools being high when I was coming here. I was lucky. I was lucky then. I was lucky then.
Okay.
Yeah, and
But all these 8 schools you applied through agencies, not
yeah,
directly
yeah,
with
true.
the
Yes,
school.
yeah,
But these
yeah,
agencies were actually agencies that are responsible for recruiting
yeah,
teachers for these schools,
yes,
not
yeah.
an agency which you are going to pay to.
No, 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 no. So they have partners because they shared my resume and they'll be calling for interview. And I don't know.
Okay.
Miracle
So
was working for me then.
okay. So if you just joined us now, they've mentioned some of them. That's TPG, IAG, Sagamo Institute, and that is the institute. That is the agency that Frank used. Then we also have FACES, IAG, EPI. So you can take note of these institutions and do more research about them. Paul, which
Yeah.
institution or which agency gave you the offer?
Um, I think IAG. Mine came through IAG.
Yeah,
Come again?
Yeah, IAG.
Okay, IAG. Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm just displaying that now. Paul is also saying that he had his offer from IAG. So
Let me
if you are
also add.
listening,
Let me
okay,
spread my. I had three job offer from IAG.
okay,
I've gotten three job offer from Sagamore,
okay.
and I had
So you
one
can
job.
so you can actually get more than one offer from
Yeah, it
one
depends.
agency.
Yeah, so I decided to choose what I want. You know,
You
so I
know,
looked at which one. You know, I don't want to mention which one will please pay well. That's why I accepted.
Okay. And someone is also mentioning
you
FAC
know,
or
it is
FAC. There is another organization, FAC.
Okay.
So if you can look at it as well. Yeah, continue, Paul.
it is different school districts that are looking at the portals for the agencies, right?
Okay.
So you might get an interview from maybe two or three different
School district.
school district through the
Okay.
same agency because your profile is in the system.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they might reach out to you through email. We've seen your profile. we want to schedule an interview. Will you be able to attend? And you give them a feedback, and you just attend the interview. You answer the questions. When you perform well, you get a job offer. Yeah.
Okay. So
So
according to
that was why,
okay, continue.
yeah, that's why I said after the application process, the most important thing you should be doing is rehearsing some possible interview questions
Questions.
and
Okay.
how you are going to answer them to make sure you are fluent. You only have one opportunity to make an impression.
Okay.
So you go through those questions, how you're going to answer them, and you should be good to go when they ask you. It might not be the same, but it might not be crafted in the same language, but you actually know what they're talking about. So you just get straight to the point. You provide what they want, and you are good to go.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So according to our guests, they said they spent just around between like 5,000 to Frank actually said in all before he had his job offer, he spent not more than 7,000 cedis, and the major expenses was the transcript evaluation, which was close to $200. Paul also said the same thing. He said he just spent money on only transcript evaluation, which was also close to $200, and he did this with Spantran, the course by course evaluation. So let's take note of that. They didn't use like any agency which they had to pay any extra money to them. They actually did everything on their own. Okay, Solomon, Jenny Mabuati is also saying, I have applied to Sagamo. So when should I expect to hear from them? Frank, any ideas
Sagamo,
since Sagamo?
Sagamo, right? So Sagamo, I don't know the qualification you applied with.
Okay,
So Sagamo, of late, this is what you have been doing. We are with Sagamo, it's not that common. Then we are just 5 Ghanaians from Sagamo. So
okay,
what we have now been doing is like, hey, if I know somebody from Ghana, I do recommendations to my directors. Hey, he's a friend from Ghana. I can do that to help. I don't know the qualification. If the person can get in touch and he's having the right, I can just recommend for to our director that is a colleague back home. I want him to come. They will do that for me. I have
okay,
that chance to do that.
okay, okay. So some people just joined us and they still want to know what are some of the education programs which if they've studied back home in Ghana, they can use to apply for some of these J-1 teaching opportunities. So, Frank, if you can mention some, and Paul will also mention some.
Okay. Oh, but the most hot cake course, is special education.
Okay, special
Special
education.
education, mass
Okay,
education, early childhood, basic education, English, French, uh, early childhood, the sciences.
If you can speak Spanish.
Yes, Ghana is a little bit. But yeah, Spanish too is very hot cake here, but lengua is very, very hot cake here.
okay,
But I know somebody from Ghana who bought French last year. So,
okay,
yeah, and somebody also came with English. There are a lot of colleagues I know they teach English here.
okay, okay. Paul, any additions?
Those are the ones Frank mentioned. Anything related to the sciences, math, special education. That is a main because we are dealing with serious student behaviors here. So we
Okay,
need special education teachers. Those are
okay,
hotcakes over here.
okay. So, but it
Yeah,
should be an education-related
Sure.
course.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. What of early childhood education?
Yeah, very, very hot cake. Yeah, elementary education. That this place they call it like elementary school. That's yeah. I know a lot of people from Kenya and Philippines. They came with that. Yeah,
That's from kindergarten to
great.
grade 5.
Yeah, yeah. And I think let me also put this one. Sometimes somebody can complete Tech BSc mathematics and go to university and do like 2 years or I don't know 2 years education course. They can also add it. It's also a plus. I know a colleague Brangan this year from where I was teaching. He did BSc Maths at UCC and
Okay,
did the diploma in education at Uniba and he's coming on phases to South Carolina this year.
okay, okay. And with that one, when you are doing the evaluation, you put
Yeah,
the diploma and the degree
yeah,
together and do it as one
yeah,
so that you don't pay extra
yeah,
money,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, okay. Kwame Alex is saying, my auntie did degree in early childhood education. Please, can you help her? Kwame Alex, please, the help we can provide is what we are doing now. They did it themselves. They didn't use like any agents in Ghana. They looked for the information. They did the application. That is why they are sharing their experiences with us so that we can learn something from it and also start or do it just like how they've done it. So when you're following us from the beginning, I was asking questions concerning how they came across the opportunities, what documents they submitted, and a whole lot. So if you have any specific question which you want them to respond to and they have not attended to, just ask and I'll display it and they'll respond to the question. Okay, so Daniel Osaibonso is saying, after passing the interview and getting the job offer, please, what is the cost involved to get there? What of accommodation as well?
Okay. Or should I take it? It depends. It depends. That's how the agency are. It depends on how each agency go about the way of doing their own thing. Some agency, yeah, with the job offer, some can even pay for your EPI. I think EPI, faces, yeah, they pay for your flights. They'll be taking your cost for the flights. Accommodation, some when you come here, some also gives a loan of $3,000 for the initial month. But if my agency, I pay for my own flight and my accommodation with my agency, they will look for somewhere to host to for 2 weeks. Then you look for your own apartment or accommodation arrangement.
Okay. Then another question is here. Please, what of accounting education?
In a high school year, they don't do electives. They don't do electives like back home. Okay, I am in a STEM school. I cannot talk about public school. I am in a charter school. But what I know about their curriculum, they don't do electives. They do bid finance. Their finance is about paying off base limited to the US system. Right. So I'm sorry, account education, I don't think this it one.
Okay, and someone is asking, what sites can one use for the the credential evaluation? Bismarck Campo for.
Yeah, we use our Portuguese. Okay.
Yeah, so if you can take it.
We can use the WES, right, and the Spamtron. Yeah.
Okay, so with the organizations, they are not actually strict on, okay, use Spantran or use only WES. Any good evaluation agency is acceptable.
Yeah.
Okay. So please, Bismarck, you can, and Spantran is actually less expensive as compared to WS. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
So just go to Google, type Spantran, Spantran, go to their official website. The steps to evaluate your transcript are right there, and you choose course by course evaluation. Okay. Let's continue. Let's come to the visa application process.
Yeah.
After you, let me go to Frank first because you have been here before, Paul. After you got a job offer letter, was that the only document you needed to work on your visa application, or you needed extra documentation?
Okay. So with the visa application, the agency will be sending what you call DS 2019. That gives a summary of where you are going, the program code, the name of the school, the amount you're going to receive. So that's why you call the DS 2019. Then you need to fill your DS 160 on the US Embassy website. After that, you need to pay what you call the service fee. We pay a service fee by using Western Union. We use Western Union to pay our service fee. Then you do your visa application.
Okay, so the service fee, is it the same amount as the one F1 students pay?
Yeah, it's the same thing. J1 and F1 are under the same category. Yeah.
Okay. Paul, so after you also had your job offer letter, did you require any additional documents from your institution? That is, what's the name of the institution? Let me just display
IAG.
IAG, good. IAG before you submitted your visa application. If you can touch on that for me.
It's just most of those basic ones you use during the application.
Okay.
Some will just still your reference letters.
Okay.
You'll be asked to submit those. Then I think you also be asked to submit a bank statement. You know, they are going to give you a DS 2019 form. They want to be sure you have the financial means to travel to the US when they give you that form. They don't want to waste their money or time putting into preparing that document for you, and then you end up disappointing them. So you upload a bank statement to show at least you have some financial stability.
Like how
And
much? If you can mention the amount you were required to show during your
um,
time.
I think for my agency it was somewhere 4,000 to 6,000. They advised
US dollars,
4,000
right?
to 6,000 bank statement. Yeah,
Okay.
you
So
know,
that one
even if
has
you
to be
don't have
okay.
if you
Okay.
don't have that much, if you don't have that much, and then you still are able to upload a bank statement, maybe somewhere close to, let's say, 2,500 or 3,000, and they've seen your account has been busy. There are evidence of transactions throughout the year, right?
Okay.
And it's not that you just went to open a new bank account and then put in some money there to deceive them. That's the only transaction throughout the year. No.
Okay.
So when you use a dormant account, that won't work for you.
And how many
So
months bank statements would they require? Well, like, is it 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, or just a month is fine?
I think for some they will ask you for a year,
Okay.
and some will ask you for the past 2 or 3 months.
Okay. So if you don't have this money in your account, can you
Yeah.
use a sponsor? Let's say your father, your mother, or an uncle, or they will still have to transfer that money into your
Yeah.
account and let's say document like a gift deed to show that they are gifting the money to you to support you.
Uh, polemic. Okay. The
Okay.
issue is that
Okay.
they think you are a professional teacher. You have made a lot of savings, and it is one requirement of the program. Like you need to be financially stable to pay off
Frank,
flight. That money is
Frank, a
not
quick one.
to.
Frank, I'm not cutting you by a quick one. Someone who has been working for let's say 2 years and the person is earning, let's say, let's just say 4,000 Ghana cedis every month. Saving up to 4,000 to
Understand.
6,000
I
is
understand. I
sometimes
understand. I understand where you are coming from. I always,
okay.
the last time I had a conversation with my sponsors, they came to visit me. I told them, technically, we are taking we Ghanaians out because we cannot make that, what do you call it, $8,000 in just 2 years.
Okay.
But that is their logic way, right? Being an international person or coming here because they are not going to give you that money to live your first 1 month. So they are thinking of your first 1 month accommodation, like $1,200, your flights, your other expenses. So they just have a view of it. But I've not gotten anybody who have said, okay, I use a brother's bank statement whatsoever.
Okay.
You
So
get what
if
I mean?
let's say I have this desire to apply for this J-1 visa and I'm now looking for opportunities, I can be using this period to even start building my bank statement since I have that
Yeah.
vision.
Yeah, good. Yeah,
Is that right?
yeah. I would tell
Very
you.
good. You
Yeah,
prepare, you start preparing, you
yeah.
start making some savings towards that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That was what I was telling Paul then. I was telling Paul, hey, they will be asked for bank statements. So you need to work on bank statements. Wait for these documents. They will ask for it, then you get going. That's
Okay.
what
So before I continue my questions, Nana
Yeah.
Kwame is asking, I did fashion design and textiles in education. So do I qualify to apply? I have my license and 2 years experience. Fashion design and textiles in
for
education.
their school, their high school, the issue is that their high school is not like ours where we do home economics whatsoever. They do the science and the maths and the English. So they don't do lettuce. So
Okay.
I've never seen somebody yet coming with an account or what. No. That's what you mentioned. The scientists, the basic education, early childhood, the SPED, yeah, the French or the languages, yeah, or the foreign languages.
Okay. Then there's another question here from Justice Otre. Can someone with a Bachelor of Education in Social Studies be eligible to apply? And what's the probability of getting hired?
Social
Two questions.
studies, I would just tell the person to give it a try. I've seen somebody who brought a social studies here. However, over here, I'm in the high school. I don't know about middle school. Maybe I can.
Okay.
Their social studies and their history is being connected together. But they
Okay.
limit those kind of content to the US. So they do like US social studies, US what they call history. So
Okay.
for them going out to bring somebody who doesn't have in-depth knowledge about their curriculum here, it's kind of so social studies have just seen one person. I don't know how it came about, but
But he was able to do it.
yeah, yeah. So I cannot bet on that. But I've seen somebody bring the social studies. Yeah.
Okay. Paul, what do you have to say about this question?
I would say just as much as Frank said.
Yeah.
I am in a middle school here,
Okay.
and here when you look at most of the social studies classes, is usually the citizens over here that teach social studies. So when you
Okay.
go through the social studies, and then also I would say the ELA, which is more like the English language and arts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you get to those ones over here, it's mostly the citizens
Yeah.
in the country here that teach those courses. So
Okay.
if you are bent on coming here, then the areas you should be looking into are special education,
So I'm typing
you
that
could
special education ahead.
get
Maths.
you could math
Maths. Uh-huh.
and the sciences.
Like if you can be specific with the subject area, special education, maths,
Yeah.
Math
Chemistry,
and then science,
biology,
chemistry,
biology,
biology,
yeah, physics,
physics, okay,
yeah, early childhood, basic education.
early childhood.
Yeah.
Please, if you remember any, just add. I'm just trying to display it here.
French. I've seen someone coming with French,
French,
English.
okay.
Yeah.
French, English.
Yeah.
What again?
Can we not say everything? I think that's all.
You mentioned special education, maths, chemistry, biology, physics, early childhood education, French, English. What else?
Basic education.
Okay,
Yeah, I think that is
basic
it.
education. Because people actually go for a bachelor's degree in
Yeah,
basic education
education.
in
Yeah,
general. Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
they do.
yeah.
Okay, so these are the few they can look at. Okay, so I'm displaying it here now. Um, so according to Frank and Paul, if you have a qualification in special education, maths, chemistry, biology, physics, or the STEM courses, early childhood education, French, English, and basic education, you can actually look at applying for this J-1 teaching opportunities. So let's take note of that. Special education, maths,
You know,
chemistry, biology,
you
physics,
know,
early childhood, French, English, and basic
Delali,
education. Yeah.
in my school district here,
Okay.
in need is very difficult. It's a challenge to come across a lot of professional teachers, like teachers with actual teaching degrees, right?
Okay.
So most of the teachers who work in the schools are either support teachers, like those who don't have
Okay.
educational backgrounds.
Okay.
They just assist actual professional teachers in the class, right? With classroom management or some other responsibilities. So you find most of and for those jobs they can't give it to you. So it's mostly the citizens over here that do those kind of job, like the support teaching and stuff like that,
Why are you
right?
saying they can't give it to you?
They need, so if I am, so you have to see it this way. They are hiring teachers from overseas to come. They can just get anyone here to be a support teacher instead of incurring the cost of hiring you to come all the way from somewhere overseas to
Okay.
come do the same job that people here can do, right?
Okay.
So for those that if you really want to come here, then you should have a degree in teaching. Like you should be a professional teacher.
Teacher. Okay.
So yeah. So once you have the
In some of
certification
in
as a
some of these subject areas you've mentioned.
Sure.
yeah,
Okay.
because those are lacking over here. It's very difficult. When I came here, the classes I teach now, they used to be proximity classes.
Okay.
So what they do is there is actually a support teacher who stays in the classroom. Their system here is such that every teacher is assigned a classroom. It's not like Ghana where the teachers move about. So you have your personal classroom. whenever the kids have your subject, they move around. So they come to your class, and then you teach them, and then they leave after the period is over, right?
Okay.
So for the proximity classes, what happens is that there was a support teacher in the classroom, and usually the kids come around when it's time, and they connect them to Zoom. So they all have their laptops, they connect to Zoom. There is a smart board in front where they can see. So someone connects online and does the actual teaching, right? So the person in the classroom is not the one doing the teaching. And I tell you, for most part, it is not quite effective, because these kids, even when you have a teacher with them in the class, it is very, very difficult sometimes to control them. So
Okay.
just imagine a situation where the teacher is online, like they are having a virtual session. So you can see the lady on the screen teaching, and you see them jumping about in a class, hitting dexes and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it actually helps when they bring you in and you are a professional teacher, and you can actually manage or handle the classroom, right? Because that's what they want.
Yeah.
So for the support teaching job, they give that to their citizens over here to do.
Okay. Okay. But
Yeah.
someone with a special education background can get into the support teaching job,
No,
right?
special education, this is how their special education is. For
Okay.
them, this is how they do. They have kids with IEP. They don't see this student being down, so this is how they do. Like, okay, I'm teaching algebra 1 or algebra 2. There are some students who cannot catch up with the higher achievers. So they were
Okay.
assigned to a special teacher
Okay.
to use a special way of teaching them.
Okay.
So they can have one. So the special educator, they are just needed in all areas.
Okay.
They are the most needed, what they call it, subject area over here. So they
Okay.
have been as sometimes they can have a student being assigned to only one special educator
Okay.
just to be with that student.
Okay.
Yeah. So they are, although they are supportive staff, but they are needed. They sometimes even some of the special teachers sometimes teach their case too. Yeah. Because they need to use a special way of teaching those kind of case so that they can catch up with their high achievers.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you are watching us now, we are live on the Delali network. We have over 80 people now who are watching us from all our three platforms. That is on Twitter, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Please, if you have not subscribed yet, I would kindly play with you to just go to YouTube now and hit the subscribe button. It's very important for the continuous growth of the Delali network channel. Before I continue with my questions, I have another question here from one of our listeners. Ajekuam Louis says, my question on special education is sometimes we take it as a semester course that can be used. Can that be used to apply? Is this something that they'll consider? Somebody who has not done special education, but she said she has just taken it as a course for just a semester.
Now we all did that. We all did introspect, but they are talking about somebody who have 4-year degree in special education.
Okay. Justice Autry is asking, so is 1 year certificate in early childhood or special education accepted?
No, it's supposed to be 4 years. They think of a degree supposed to be 4 years.
So either a 4 year
Yeah,
or a 3 year,
yeah, yeah.
or even a 2 year top up degree if someone has a
Yeah, when you have
degree in
already have
education.
the diploma, that's okay.
Okay. So if you are listening to us, you can't use a diploma to apply. But if you have a diploma and let's say top up degree of 1 year or 2 years, you can put those two or three together and do a transcript evaluation. That is a course by course evaluation. Also, if you have a 4 year degree in education, a 3 year degree in education, you can apply. And mostly, teachers, because of they having the diploma, some of them just go for a 1 year top up.
Yeah, I think diploma is 3 years,
Yes,
right?
degrees.
Diploma is a
The
diploma.
diploma is 3 years and the top
So
up is 1 year.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So can the person use that? The diploma
When
is
you
3 years.
evaluate it together, when you do the evaluation together, I think it's up to the 4 years. But it
Okay.
depends on the subject area.
Okay.
Sometimes you do 1 year. I know a friend who has been hired to come and teach geometry here, but he did a geometry with another subject in UCC. Although he had BSc math, but he said the geometry was just what do you call like not 4 3 credit hour course, so he doesn't qualify to teach. So
Okay.
these are the very things. So I'll just tell you that just more than 2 years or from 2 years will be okay. I'll not subscribe to the 1 year. I might not be an expert, but
Okay.
I want to go for that. Yeah.
Okay. I have Richard Atu accent. I also learned that physical education is also considered. How true is it? P.
Personally, I've not gotten in touch with anybody coming here to teach what do you call it? PE. Yeah, yeah. What do they call it? Like gym, right? Gym. They call it gym here. Yeah, gym. They call it gym course. Yeah. I think I don't know. I might be wrong, but my observation in the past 2 years, in this case, I'm more concerned about their basketball, and me back home. Yeah, a lot of PE teachers don't have that, so I don't see. I've never seen anybody who is.
Okay.
Who's having
And
that
there's
issue.
another question here. Can someone with a Bachelor of Science in IT and postgraduate diploma in education be eligible to apply?
IT, in my school, they do computer science here, but for them,
So,
I don't.
so he has a Bachelor of Science in IT and a postgraduate diploma in education.
No,
Is he
I've
eligible?
never seen anybody being come here from IT.
Okay. But it may be possible.
But he can still try. He can
Yeah,
still give it a try.
I would just suggest to the person, go to the website, pick the agency email address, compose an email, add your credential. With these exceptional cases, do I qualify? If they give you the green light, then you move on. That's my humble
Since
suggestion.
you are not even going to pay any money for whatsoever, why don't you just give it a shot and see whether you can get in or not?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and even for me, my agency, when you're about to apply, right? The positions are listed over there for you, so you will know if the job description matches your qualification. So the
Okay.
positions are listed over there. So whichever you want to apply to, if it is high school classroom teacher, uh, high school classroom math teacher, or science teacher, ELA, whatever, you just click on that and then you put in the documents, and then you fill those portions that require your personal details.
Okay. Paul.
Yeah.
So Juliet is asking, which school district are you teaching in? And do you need to be actively teaching before you can apply? The reason the person is asking is, for example, the person has gone on a study leave, or the person has traveled abroad to pursue further education, let's say a master's, but the person has a teaching background back home
Okay.
and an active license which has not yet expired. Can the person give it a shot?
I think you're
You
supposed to
know,
be a full-time teacher before you can apply. Full-time teacher. You're
yeah.
supposed to do the job. Yeah, it's one of the
So it
requirements.
could be a full-time teacher, and then if you've taken any breaks in the last 2 years
Okay.
from teaching, then you have to provide evidence of maybe new academic certification for a program you've taken, or anything of that form that
Okay.
accounted for the breakage in your practice, right? You
Okay.
cannot just take a break for a long time, be idle. You've not been in a classroom for a long time, and then you just want to get back to no. So at least you should be in the classroom for the past 2 years, and if you're not, then it means you are taking an academic course to upgrade yourself or anything of that form. So you should be able to provide evidence of certification for that.
Okay. And she's also asking, which school district are you teaching in?
Oh, I teach in Charles
Charles.
County Public School.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's here in Maryland.
Okay. But before she will do the application, she can only apply through, let's say, IAG or any other government agency.
Yeah,
No,
she can
yeah, yeah.
she can
Some of
apply
them,
through those agencies.
yeah.
Okay.
There's another way out. I'll just sometimes you can also go to some school districts,
Okay.
right? I'll put in the application. And during the interview, they'll be asking you maybe, I had an experience of that. How can you locate to the US? So there are some agencies like Spirit, the
Okay.
agency like Green Heart.
Okay.
They, after you got a job offer, they can sponsor you on the J-1
Okay.
when you have a job offer, but they need a job offer first. So
Okay.
as Paul is saying, you can just visit Paul's school districts, put in an application. During the interview, let them know that, okay, I can relocate because I can just make an arrangement with my J-1. They are ready to also sponsor. So
Okay. Okay. You both kept on mentioning sponsorship. Sponsorship.
yeah.
What do you mean by if they are ready to sponsor you or they will sponsor you? What do you mean by that?
The sponsorship is the person, the agencies. They are going to issue the DS 2019 or the certification to be on the program. They are the
Okay.
designated ones from the US government. So you
Okay.
cannot come on J1 without coming through them. Yeah.
Okay, so the sponsorship is not actually about
It's a,
financial background.
yeah,
Are they
it's
issuing you the DS 2019?
yeah, the important document for the visa. Yeah.
Okay. So after you get your offer letter and you don't have the DS 2019, you cannot proceed to the visa application
No,
stage.
you can't. You can't.
Okay. And with the visa application, how much was spent when you were doing the visa application?
You know, I forgot my star, right? I think one, for how much?
185
185. Yeah.
For the MRV,
for
Yeah.
the visa fee.
that is
Yeah.
the machine readable visa, MRV.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And the service you mentioned service fee as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Paul just came. I forgot my
Or
stuff.
did you pay service fee as well?
Yeah, Paul. Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it also depends on the agency, right? Because for some agencies, when you apply to them, I know of faces,
Yeah.
and I also know of, I don't know if EPI does same.
Yeah.
Uh, but when you apply through those ones, they pay your service fee for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you don't pay service
Yeah.
fee. The only thing you have to pay is the visa fee.
Yeah, and there
Okay.
also some of those agents also pay for your flights. When you come
Yeah.
here, they'll give you a loan of $3,000 without any interest.
Okay. And is there any reimbursement of the expenses you made?
Well, yeah, no, with EPI, they will just pay for your flight. And I know one agency, some agencies will let you come, then they will reimburse it.
Okay. Paul, in your case, did you get any reimbursement?
Not from the agency, but from my school district. Yeah, I think I did on my first payslip.
Yeah.
Okay.
They
I
gave
did.
me some relocation allowance. Yeah.
Okay. 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 So before I continue with my questioning, Greenman is asking, I completed last year. I did mathematics education and I want to further my education. Can I apply and is it necessary for me to do that?
It depends. It depends. I'm not going to school is very important, and over here, I think having masters is also very important. It's very costly here. I would just think some agency also sometimes think like when we are having a course back home, they think, okay, why don't you complete before you come? Because that could be distracting. That's
Okay.
one thing. But that's a personal decision. Either you are going to continue. But if you come here and you want to continue education, you can do it online. You cannot go in person because of the job wise.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's also saying that you actually need at least 2 years work experience,
Yeah.
which your national service counts
Yeah.
as part of the 2 years. So, in essence, after national service, you only need a 1 year experience to add to the national service one to get a 2 years so that you can put in the application.
Yeah.
Bismarck, can you name some of the agencies? Yes, we've displayed some of the agencies. Let me just go back to my chart and display them again. So we have TPG, we have IAG, we have Sagamore Institute. These are some of them. Then we also have FACES, we have IAG, we have EPI. So let's say I go to Google right now and aside these organizations you've mentioned, I want to find an organization or an agency which I can apply through for the J1. What specifically should I type for my search?
Yeah. If you
Yeah.
just a list of sponsors of J-1 teachers in the US, everything will come out. But these ones are the free ones, you don't pay anything. But some agency takes what do you call it? Placement fee, like Spirits, Green Hearts. That's why they but these ones are for we Ghanaians in quotes. They are the free, you don't need to pay anything. Yeah. And it is easy to navigate your way out when you are working with them.
Okay. Concerning the visa interview, was it difficult to get a date? Was it like the F1 where you have to struggle for a date, or once you pay everything and you go to the website, you can easily find a date?
Okay. So in J1, during the months of March, April, May, June, up to October, I think based on their system, they give priority to J1
Okay.
because they know that you need to be here before the school year starts in August. So me, for instance, as soon as I had my first date, the only thing you need about is your first date, then you expedite. They will just give you some dates for you to select. So it's not difficult. J1, all that you need is your first initial date. Even if you get 20,000 years time, just have it expedite, add your DS 2019 to it and a job offer. The embassy will get you some date like in the next 2 weeks, in the next 1 week for you to select to come. So they give that chance to J1s for expedition of visa process.
Okay. Paul, since you also came recently, how was it like getting a date? Did you also experience similar thing he's mentioning?
Yeah, I did. I did. I applied for my initial date, and I think it was about a month away from the date I applied.
Okay.
So what I did was, like you said, I uploaded those documents to the embassy side, um, the offer letter, and then I think some other letter from the visa sponsor as well.
Okay.
And then I applied for expedition. But the funny thing was, when the embassy replied the mail, and then they gave me a second chance to get back into the portal and then select a new date, which is closer, right? I
Okay.
went back in, and then the closest date I found was still my initial appointment date, so nothing changed. So I had my interview, I think about 1 month after the application. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. But that is still a good period as compared to the F1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because sometimes the F1 you can get like a year ahead or 2 years
yeah.
before you now struggle and hunt for an early date. So I
With
think it's still
J1, they give priority during this time. Whenever you apply for J1, they will give you priority because they need you here before the school year. So the embassies are aware.
okay.
And
So
on,
it's
okay,
a one-man production. I'm actually sharing the link so that you can join us in studio to ask your questions. So I've shared the link on my various platforms. You can just join us in the studio to ask your questions. I'll actually give you the opportunity to come live to ask your questions. So just look for the StreamYard link. I'm posting it to my various platforms, Facebook, Twitter, what have you. Just look for the link StreamYard and join and ask us your questions so that we'll respond to them. Yeah, continue, Frank. You were saying something.
yeah, because on the years 2019, it's like we have a starting date. You need to be here.
Okay.
We have a starting date. So sometimes, based on the starting dates, they think they need to be here before the school year. However, because over a year before the school year starts, you need to be here and just do orientation and other documentation for or like applying for your social security. So they always want you to come before August sometimes. So that's why I think the embassy give that priority. So J1s, as soon as you put in the application, that is them and time. Like I'm not talking recent time. So them and time, as soon as you put in the application, the early date for J1. Yeah.
Okay. And with the interview, how was it like, Paul, since you came recently?
Yeah.
The questions,
Yeah.
how many questions did you expect and how many did you get? Also, was it difficult or it was something which was easy peasy for you?
Before I got to the interview, there was this lady from the agency who sent me about a 10-minute long audio prepping me for the interview, right? Like
Okay.
questions they'll be asking you about your visa type, reason why you are going to the US, and all those stuffs, right?
Okay.
And interestingly enough, when I got there, I was not asked any of those questions. Actually, I think I was asked about just 2 or 3 questions. Are you a professional teacher? Do you have your teacher's license? How long have you been teaching? I think those were the only 3 questions the guy asked me.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
So even though you sent a bank statement, like they didn't ask you, or you didn't send a bank statement at all.
It's not a
No, no,
requirement.
no. Not
Bank
just to
statement.
the agency, not to the embassy.
Okay, so for the actual interview, the bank statement is not required.
Yeah.
No, 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 not at all.
Okay. So
Yeah.
those who want to ask their questions in studio, as I said, just check YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or our various pages. I've shared the link there. It's a StreamYard link. Just click on the link and come in the studio and ask your question live so that they can respond to your questions. Okay, someone is asking, Abuaji Elvis, can you brief us on what happens after the contract expires? It's a 5-year contract, right?
Yeah.
So after it expires, what next?
And with that one, we are sorry
Oh,
not.
wait. Do they give you all the 5 years at once, or they give you some number of years first before you can renew till the 5 years? If you can clarify that.
Okay, first the DS 2019 is the initial one is 3 years, then you go for extension of 2 years.
Okay.
The rest don't want to say it here, but the only issue is that the objective of the program is to come here in the 5 years, go back to your country, share the experience you've learned here, how you are also going to contribute back home to the teachers and the environments you came from, or what you've learned here. So that's what you can say for now, but the rest, not on the platform. But if all want to add anything, I think it's okay. But the
Paul,
objective is to finish the 5 years, go home, spend 2 years in Ghana before you can come back to the US.
okay. Paul, what about
And
you?
even your 5 years is not guaranteed if you don't follow the visa sponsors rules, right?
What are
For
some of the
instance,
rules like? Yeah.
like we said, this is an exchange program, a cultural
Okay.
exchange program. So every year you are expected to submit at least 2 cultural activities, linking your students here back to students at home in Ghana, right?
Okay.
Where
So
you
is it like a
teach.
document you prepare?
Good. So you do the actual activity and you have to write a report and upload to the agency, right?
Okay.
And they have a way of finding out because they might contact your principal back at school to confirm if indeed you did that activity.
Okay.
So you do that, and once you follow that, you upload it on time. There are also monthly check-ins you need to be doing with your agency so that they know your health status and whereabouts. If you've changed address at any time and all that, you need to update them on that, right? So if you've not been doing all this and at the end of the 3 years you apply for an extension, I'm not sure they'll be willing to give you a new DS 2019 form.
Yeah. And let me add this one. Over here, the job is a yearly base. Although you have the 3 years initial DS 2019, but based on the school, they evaluate you on a yearly basis.
Okay.
So first year, if you don't perform, that means, or if they don't extend your contract to the next year, you're going back home.
Even though you have the 3 years.
Yes, but in the school, if you don't perform, you're going back home. And
Okay. So you have to be up and doing all the time.
yeah.
Okay. And how is the working condition like?
It is a for me.
Is a new environment you've moved to?
Yeah, it is a new. It is. Yeah, it is a new experience. They have rich curriculum. Their curriculum is very, very rich.
Okay.
Can't take it from them. With up to date or modern way of teaching. They are always as administrators are also very supportive. You
Okay.
have technology wise, it is there. What else? The rest, you cannot have. There are a lot of culture shocks. That one you cannot take it from there, and you know that. Yeah, America kid is an America kid, right? And they have those kind of notion, who are you to teach me? Unless it is from the onset, it's only for them to connect. Because
Okay.
you might think you are from Africa, what do you know? But when they trust you, and over here in my school, I'm talking from my school, whatever you teach the case, they have platform, they need to go there and they go there for practice, like a classwork, assignment. So the administrators follow. So if you teach them anything wrong and the percentage doesn't shoot, you need to go and visit. So when you teach them the practice and you know, hey, it's up to task, I think. And in my school too, wherever you are teaching, there's camera on you,
Okay.
administrators watching you. Yeah, I think the rest, foreign case are foreign case. I don't demand much respect from them. Mine is to do my job, make sure I make an impact on their life. Whatever they say to me is my back case. That is my perception, or that is how I live my life with them.
Okay. Paul, what about you?
Yeah, same experience over here. For the initial stage, you're going to have those cultural shocks, right?
Okay.
Like totally different from what you are used to back in Ghana. Because most of the kids are going to be very tough on you in terms of behavior. You don't sometimes I just see it's more of they are getting to know you, test you, or see if you have how you react to some of those issues. But as time moves along, you get by with them one day at a
Yeah.
time, right? So you just take it slowly. You make sure you act professionally.
Yeah.
You don't take anything they do personal. You don't confront students regarding any behavior issues or stuff like that. And I think even when you get here, initial orientation they'll do for you, you'll be briefed on all those things. So you'll be in the know what to expect, what to do, what not to do. The rest is just being a little tough on them in terms of implementing your class rules and expectations, so that when you are consistent in
What do you mean?
implementing
What do
them.
you mean by being a little tough on them? Because we've seen instances of students being aggressive on teachers in the classroom in the US, like gun and those things, physical. So, what do you mean by being tough with them? If you can.
Oh, not good. So when I say being tough on them, it does not mean confronting or engaging in maybe exchanges with them or stuff like that. No, you still have to be professional, but make sure you enforce your rules. Over here, when you get into an issue with a kid, usually what I do is, when I give you an instruction and you decide not to follow that, I give you up to the count of three to make your decision. You make the right choice before I get a school administrator involved. And the
Okay.
assistant principal is just about 2 or 3 doors away from mine. So I just need to make a phone call and quickly you'll be right in the room and they'll pick you up. Yeah.
Okay.
So you have to be consistent. You give them the rules, what they can do in the class and what they cannot do, and you make sure you follow those rules, right? Because these kids, they are very, if you miss out on one and they see a loophole, everyone will try to exploit that. So if I say raise your hand before you answer a question and I ask a question and maybe someone just reply and I take that in, right? The next time the next guy will not raise his hand and he'll cite that guy as an example, but
Okay.
he answered the question without raising his hand. So why are you insisting I should raise my hand? Yeah, it's those type of things. So no one can talk. If I'm talking, no one should be talking, and all those ones. You need to be a little tough on them so that you can have some
Yeah.
consistency in your classroom. Yeah. If not,
Okay.
if not, you spend the whole instructional time,
Managing behavior.
yeah, managing behaviors.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
what I like about them is like when they connect to you, like they will take like a brother, they'll be hacking you, they'll be calling you whenever
Yeah.
they. Yeah, that is like that's what they are, and
Okay.
I think they are lacking one or two things back home from their houses. So when they come and you create that enable environment, caring environment, they want to connect. But for them, how they use cares West profile, that's normal. I mean, I see it to be normal because that's their way of life. I don't demand an American to just beat me with the right hand.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So that's how I just don't look at those kind of things. My focus is my job. My job. That's how I am.
Okay. So if you're watching us right now, we are live on the Delali Network on Twitter, that is X, on Facebook, and on YouTube. We have currently over 120 people watching us. If you have not subscribed yet, I'll humbly plead with you to go to our YouTube channel and click on the subscription button, because that is the only way you can help us bring this to your doorstep. It's a one-man project, personal resources invested. So we just ask that you subscribe and you also share and recommend the page to others as well. So, as we were discussing, if you've joined us late, this is a discussion about two amazing Ghanaian teachers who moved to the US on a J-1 visa, that is a cultural exchange visa. And some of the documents which they used for the application were one, an evaluated transcript, two, English proficiency letter from their institution, their university back home, the academic certificates, work resume, and three, professional recommendation letters. So if you're watching us now and you don't know what this is about, this is what it's about, and these are the requirements. I've displayed them on the screen. Just have a look at it. And if you have any questions, please check on Facebook, check on YouTube, and check on Twitter. I've shared a StreamYard link there. Click on it, enter your name, and join us in the studio right now to ask them your question live so that they respond to it, because we'll be wrapping up in the next 15 to 20 minutes. So I'm using this time to give you the opportunity to come live to ask your question. I've shared the link on my YouTube live comment section as well, the StreamYard link. Look for it, click on it, and join us in studio to ask your question. Okay, there is another question here. It says, so what happens if you have a spouse and you like to go with the person?
That's okay. You are allowed to bring a spouse.
So both of you can actually go to the embassy just like the F1.
I would just tell you, based on the what I've read or my experience, I would let the person wait for at least 6 weeks. That's how some agencies do it. However, you are new here, you don't know, you have not even settled. I would just suggest you can come later. You can bring your spouse.
Okay.
The basic thing is you are allowed to bring your spouse. Your case, everyone who is under 21 years is allowed to join you.
Okay. How is the living expenses like? Your rent, your feeding, your bills, insurance, and those stuffs. How is it like? Is it draining you, or at least you are making something reasonable, which is able to cater for your expenses, and you still have something there to save? If you can touch on that quickly for us.
For me, for instance, I'm privileged to have a shared apartment.
Okay.
I always tell myself that you need to create your own America within America. If you want to leave the America today, you cannot save, right? So I am shared apartment, which I pay like.
How much are you paying for rent every month?
For 2-bedroom, it's $1,500.
So you share equally, like 750, 750.
Yeah, basically 750.
Okay. Paul, how much are you paying for rent?
About 1,200 a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the expenses, this place, cost of living is not that. Both of us don't have a car. Let me put it across.
It also depends on whichever state you find yourself, right? Especially with the renting. Okay. So you might find it cheaper in some states compared to other places. Yeah. So it is not constant for every state that an apartment of this nature goes for this price. No. Yeah. So depending on whichever state you find yourself, I mean, you should have the price range, and then you look for what, and it is always advisable to share, right? If possible, if you have the opportunity to share with someone so you can reduce costs, that is good. That is always good.
Okay. What of in terms of feeding?
Feeding in America, can you spend one person? Okay, it depends on the kind of food the person will be eating.
So roughly a month, how much do you spend on feed?
I don't eat. Personally, sometimes I go to work, I spend like 10 hours at work without even eating. That is my personal. In America, I think groceries, roughly $300 a month. I don't think nobody can. One person, Paul, is it possible? $300.
Paul, how much do you spend on like?
I don't think $300. I think if you want to eat 5 times a day, then
But there's no, even if I go to African markets, sometimes I just buy for like $200. It can take me like 2-3 months. Yeah.
Okay. So aside that, what are some of the things that one has to look at in case you get an offer, you get your visa before coming in? What are some of the preparations you need to do?
Personal experience, and I know Paul will also fall into that. Learn how to drive. Driving here is necessity. Yeah, driving here is very necessity. Yeah, and that was a big mistake I did.
Bringing the Ghanaian license there, is it helpful?
In my state, I don't know about, in the US, every state has a way of doing its own thing. But Indiana, if you have an international driver license, you can drive for just 2 months. Then you need to take the practice or the main test, the written test, then you go for the road test. So I'm done with the learning permits, which can allow me to drive here. Then I'm here to go on the road for the main one.
Okay. I have Asamoah Eric live here with us. He wants to ask a question. So Asamoah, you are live on TDN. You can actually ask your question so that our guests will respond to you, Asamoah. Asamoah, we can see you. If you can unmute yourself, your mic. So okay, so you can ask your question now, Asamoah. think the network problem is
I
a
didn't get what
challenge.
you said.
Yeah, you've joined us live, and we want you to go ahead and ask
What
your
I want to
question.
ask, I'm saying I have a bachelor.
Yeah, go ahead and ask your question. Asama,
Hello.
kindly go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, please. What I want to find out. I have a bachelor degree in accounting and diploma in basic education. Will I qualify to apply?
So he said he has a bachelor's in accounting and a diploma in
A
education.
bachelor degree in administration.
A bachelor degree in what? Business administration.
Yeah, in business administration, and,
Okay,
and, and a diploma in basic education.
so diploma in basic education, bachelor degree in business
Yeah.
administration.
You know, the 4 years they are concerned, the agency's concern is more of the 4 years degree you did. So if that is not into the education aspect or to the subject you listed, I think it's a little
Yeah,
too
hello.
big a chance.
Yeah, Asama is he's responding to your question.
Okay.
So
So
I
he
was
said,
saying,
yeah.
they are concerned or focuses about the 4 year degree program you did. So if it doesn't fall on education course, accounting, I think it will be impossible. It will be impossible.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
So just like Asama did, you can just join us live and ask your question. The opportunity is there. Just look for the StreamYard link and join us in studio to ask our guests your question before we wrap up. Daniel Osaibonsu is asking, what is the salary range for the work?
So the salary rate depends on your year of experience and your qualification. Paul is having a master's, so Paul might earn more than me. And depends on the state too. And depends on the school district. I am teaching in a charter school, more of like a private school. Paul is in the public school. So public schools pay very good. They give them bonuses. Charter school, we have our own. But the basic thing is, we travel because of exchange rates. So it is better than Ghana. That's why I can just put it there. But if you have at least 2 years, it depends on the states. Indiana, you can get like 50,000 a year before tax. Before tax, yeah, annual. Yeah, I'm just giving.
Paul, what about you?
I think for my school district here, the least you can earn over here is around 60,000, and the maximum is somewhere 140,000.
Annually, right?
Yeah, it all comes with your experience and then qualification. Yeah, years of experience and qualification. Yeah.
Okay. So if I have a master's and have a 5-year qualification and a 5-year experience, and someone has a master's and the person has, let's say, a 2-year experience, technically, if we are in the same district, because we have the same qualification, but I have a higher year of experience than the person, automatically I'm going to earn more. Is that right?
Yeah.
You earn more.
Yeah.
Paul, how much is the how do we call this? Why am I forgetting this? The minimum wage, yeah. How much is the minimum wage at where you are currently?
I'll say somewhere $30 an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, $30 an hour. That is right over here. When I know that from, although I can't tell, but when you pick any extra responsibility, maybe after school work over here, right?
What
Maybe
do you
you
mean
pick
by after school work?
usually school starts around 8:40 here,
Okay.
and it closes somewhere 3:10.
Okay.
So when you are given any other responsibility, maybe you have to take students on a field trip or whatever, maybe with whatever it is, any other responsibility aside the classroom work, right?
Okay.
You might be paid an extra 30 for an hour.
Okay. You said the salary range is between 60,000 USD to what? To one what? I'm trying to display it.
I think somewhere 140. Yeah.
140,000. Okay. And you said which school district is this? Or which Yeah, which
in Charles County.
Charles County. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, and that is not just for teaching. When you look at their pay scale, it's like it's for almost all workers. So they have a pay scale for almost all workers in the school, right?
Yeah.
So salaries are within that range.
Range. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Paul is saying you can earn around 60,000 USD to 140,000 USD in Charles County.
Before
That's annually.
deductions.
Before
Before
the
the okay. Okay. So let's take note of that.
So you might end up losing half of that to taxes.
Wow.
yeah.
But actually, all your taxes are working for you, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Unlike the situation back home.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what about you, Frank? What is
For
the
me, I'm in a
minimum?
charter school. I'm in a charter
What
school.
is the minimum wage in your area?
I think, yeah, for my school is not a public school, it's a charter school. It's like a private school, like a STEM school. So they determine their own salary. But as Paul said, if you take any extra responsibility, they pay you like $30 per hour.
Okay.
Yeah, so it depends on your experience. It depends on your experience. But Indiana per se, they pay very good. At least you can get more than 60. Yeah, 5 years experience, I get like 60 in public schools. Yeah, but I don't end like that.
Solomon Ejenim, you are live on TDN. You can go ahead and ask your question. If you can unmute your mic is muted. If you can unmute your mic and ask your question, we're very grateful. Yes, Solomon, proceed. You've muted your mic again. It was unmuted at first, and you've muted again.
Wow,
Yeah,
sorry.
We can hear
Thank
you.
you very much for the opportunity. Last week was very wonderful, and this week is also great. Thank you very much. You guys are doing well. In
Thank
fact,
you.
I've done my evaluation, and I have masters in educational psychology, bachelor of education, and then diploma in education with
Okay.
17 years of teaching experience.
That is
And
impressive.
yeah, I'm currently a head teacher of Kwangoma Junior High School in the Achuma Kwangoma district.
Okay.
Actually, I've done a lot of the applications, about 5 or so applications, and I'm yet to receive anything from them. So I'll be very grateful to be connected to Frank and then Paul after the program, so that I'll talk to them personally if they can help me link me to their HR for future recruitment.
Okay, so over to Frank and Paul. This is a request. What do you have to say about it?
With the HR, with the HR, the only thing I don't know the kind of application you did, right? I don't know. If it is Sagamore, I can just give a list of schools in Indiana. I don't know
I also applied to Sagamore. I have one application with Sagamore.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I've uploaded all the essential documents as well.
But please, have they given the initial interview?
No, I'm yet to receive search notification.
Okay, so let's see. When you get in touch, we know what to do. I can just link you to the agency, the director. Use me as reference. Frank at this school is my colleague, so I wanted to check up on my application and let's know what happened from there.
Okay, I hear. So I will let.
Just hit me backstage.
Send me your contact. I've forwarded everything. All my documents.
You reach out to me for further information. And also, Ken, Solomon, my friend.
Hello.
Kennedy, the one who came on board last week, he just sent a message in the live session. He said the guy with the psychology background should contact me.
I've contacted him. We are in talks. We are talking, and then he has promised to help me. So I'm also working with him. But I don't want to place all my eggs in one basket. At least.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So Ken, Solomon said he has contacted you. You are sorting him out. God bless you for that.
Yeah.
And this is actually how we do it. Paul was actually my junior back in senior high school. Frank has also been a very good friend. on one of our
Okay.
platforms, and that's how come we all connected, and I brought them on board. So just remember,
Oh, okay.
when someone is able to help you or link you up and you get opportunity, you should also help someone when you get there. This is how we do it for the culture.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so
Why
I'm,
not? We are
I'm
praying.
taking you up now.
Thank you very
Someone
much.
is on standby.
Okay.
I'm bringing the person.
I'm grateful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. So Solomon Affair. Let me just add him to stage. Solomon Affair, you are live on TDN. If you can kindly unmute yourself and your camera so that you go ahead and ask your question. Solomon Affair. Solomon Affair. Okay, he's not ready, so I'm just taking him off. Please, if you just joined us now and you have any question which is bothering you, which I haven't asked, just join, look for the StreamYard link in either the YouTube live section. I've just shared it right now again in the YouTube live section, on my Twitter, and on all my pages on WhatsApp. Just look for the StreamYard link, click on it, and join and ask your question so that it can be answered.
Yeah.
There's a question here about Isaac says, I have a degree in music education. I have done my transcript evaluation. Any opportunity for me?
Music. I always talk to something I have idea about or a testimony on it. I've never seen somebody come here with music. I've not seen somebody come here with music. So
Paul, any idea?
No, I've also not heard of anyone who came here with music background.
yeah.
But the music teacher in my school, actually, he told me his parents were from Ghana, Eastern region, but they came here and then they've settled here for quite a long time. So I think he was born here. He went through the system here. He actually studied music here.
Okay.
So he teaches music in the school where I also teach. Yeah.
Okay. So
So
can you
aside
ask him,
that,
can you find out from him if they are looking at getting people who are into music too from Africa, specifically Ghana, to come and teach there? Though he's a teacher, but since he's in the music department, maybe he might have an idea about it. Is it okay if you find out for us?
the only one who might have that information over here will be the HR.
Okay.
So the way it works over here is, I think for my school district, they do the recruitment. So it's like the school district. So all public schools, they have about from elementary level up to high school level, right? All the public schools in the county here are under this school district, the Charles County school district. So what happens is they do the recruitment at the district level and then later assign the teachers to the specific schools. So I think for that might be different for other school districts, but where I live currently, the school district does the interview and then they give you the job offer to sign. And once you sign that, they now assign you to a school. I know for some people it is the school that does the interview. I think the principal does interview for some schools, right? And then later they give the offer of employment. But over here it's not that way.
Okay.
Over here you are interviewed by the HR from the school district. And once your interview goes through, you're given the job offer to sign by the HR, and you should be good to go. So if there is anyone who will have access to that information, it should be the HR.
Okay. Okay.
It should be the HR and not the music teacher.
Okay. So if you just joined us now, I've displayed a list of possible programs. If you've studied and you
I
had
think
have
he's been logged off, Frank.
No.
no, I think it's you, Paul.
Is the lally still on?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still here, so you can just rejoin. You can just try and rejoin, and let's see. So if you just joined us now, I've displayed list of courses that if you've studied and they are related to education, you can actually give it a shot. We have special education, we have maths, chemistry, biology, physics, early childhood education, French, English, and basic education. So if you have studied this and you have an education background, you are still a teacher and you have 2 years experience or more, whether a government school or a public school back home, you can actually give the J-1 visa a shot. So Paul is back. Let me add him to the stage. Yeah, Paul, you're back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as I was saying, if anyone would have access to that information, it should be the HR at the district level. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have Norris who has joined us live. Norris, you are live on the Rally Network TDN. Please go ahead and ask our guests your questions, please.
Hello, everyone. Lalali and
Yeah.
the other guests. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Maurice. I'm a teacher. I hold a bachelor in basic education.
We can hear you clearly. If you can take it again, we can hear you very clearly.
All right. So, as I was saying earlier on,
Okay.
I hold a bachelor's degree and a master's and MBA as well, with 16 years work experience. I currently teach in a senior high school, and I just want to find out if there is an opportunity for me to also join. Actually, joined a bit late, so I wasn't able to get the briefing from the onset. So if you may pardon me for that.
Okay. So you have a bachelor's in education, right?
Hello,
Yeah, you have a bachelor's in education, right?
please, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. Norris, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yes.
Yeah. So Frank, Paul, over to you. Said he
Bachelor's
has
in education. Yes.
bachelor's in education. He
With
has okay.
So what was
all
his
right,
major?
that's
His
fine.
major. I think the major is the most important.
What is the major? What did you study as your major
Okay.
in
All right.
for the education? Yeah. Yeah, Norris. What was your specialization in the
Yeah.
bachelor
So
in
basic
education?
education.
Okay. Yeah, Frank, he said basic
Yeah,
education.
that's cool. That's cool. It's good
Yeah,
for
basic
everybody.
science.
Yeah. That's okay. That's okay for any of the agents. You can just put in application. That's very
Okay.
good.
So what does he have to do? If you can just give him a quick
You need a cost by cost evaluation. That is the most important thing. You need what do you call it, the driver license in some cases. You need your
Okay.
transcripts, your English proficiency, your certificates, your professional employment letter.
Okay.
What shows your teacher or your teacher license? Yeah. So
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 Norris.
I do have the Duolingo English proficiency. I have the course by course evaluation from Spatran. I also have the driving license.
yeah.
I have the license, the professional license for teachers as well.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, I have a master's degree as well.
Oh, okay. That's good. You should just put in the applications and let us know where you might need our assistance. If you fall on us, you can assist. So you can just be visiting the website, those
Okay,
agencies
so
registered.
Yeah, Norris.
since I joined a bit late, I'm not privy to the list of
Yeah,
websites for the application. So,
sure. Norris, we have other people on standby now, so we'll be taking you off. But then the full video will be uploaded on our YouTube page. You can just take your time, use maybe the midnight bundle to watch the whole thing. It has information about some of the agencies to look at and how to get some of these agencies to apply to. Because others are on standby, I have to bring them on board too as well. Sorry for that. Okay, thank you very much, Maurice. Okay, so Richie, I'm bringing Richie now. Richie is on standby. Richie, you're live on TDN. You can unmute yourself, your camera, and ask your question, please. Richie. Okay, I think Richie is not ready. Okay, yeah, Richie, yeah.
Hey, Paul.
Richmond.
Yeah, Richmond. How you doing? Yeah, he was our course mate back in UW. We were in the same class. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we know him. Yeah.
Okay. I think it's network, so I'm taking him off. Anytime he gets a stable connection, I'll add him back.
Yeah.
There's a question here. Daniel says, I have a diploma and degree in mathematics with 10 years experience. Any opportunity for me?
So when you say mathematics, that is where I don't know which one. You know what I mean? Like, is it raw maths? Is it in education? But I think with the experience in diploma in education, I cannot say today. If it is diploma in education and you add it to the raw one, I think it will be a plus. But
okay. What of the case whereby I know there are some people who have the first degree, they didn't go to the teachers training college.
Mm-hmm.
They have the first degree, let's say a BSc.
Yeah.
In some of these subject areas you've mentioned, let's say biology, physics.
Mm-hmm.
But they have the teacher's license, but they don't have education background. So with that, they are classified as non-professional under GEs.
Yeah.
What of people in such situation?
One of the requirements of them asking of the education background, they need the internship aspect of the transcript. So even if you are a non-professional, without that, I think they have some 2 years called Winneba to do the diploma to make it professional. That's it, you cannot make it. But if you have that Winneba one and your raw one combined, you can make it. And I know a friend who's coming in June on Faces. He did those kind of courses.
Okay. So even if you don't have the education background, you can just get the PGDE, that is a postgraduate diploma in education, to back with your BSc qualification, provided it's in one of the areas they want. And also do the evaluation as well.
We are good to go. Yeah. So that my friend did UCC, did BSc Maths, and did that post one. Added it. He's coming to teach geometry in South Carolina on Faces.
Okay, Daniel says it's a BEd in Maths. So if it's a BEd in Maths,
BEd is all.
You are good to go. As they said, first step is to do a transcript evaluation course by course. It will cost you around $190 span run. After the transcript evaluation, then you now get the remaining documents and start looking for J-1 agencies or institutions that can sponsor you and give you an offer for the US opportunities. Then Dodu Manuela is saying, I have a diploma and degree in French.
Yeah, you should try. They need a lot. I don't know much about immigration issues here, but some states, a lot of the immigrants there are French speaking. So I know somebody who brought French here to South Carolina last year.
Okay.
Yeah, a French teacher from Ghana. So,
but it should also be an education background.
Yeah.
Okay. Richie, you're live. You can go ahead and ask your question, Richie. Unmute yourself and your camera and ask your question. I don't know if it's his network. He has been trying to join us. Okay. Then I think there was one question here which I didn't display. What is the question? Ajikumwa is asking, is November the best period to apply?
A lot of the agencies, per my experience, a lot of agencies start their application from November, October for the primary one or the initial agency interview. But school or the principal interview most of the time start from January, February, March, up to the way to maybe October.
Okay. So whilst I'm waiting now, what would be your advice for those who want to do this? Somebody who has not yet started this but has joined and has listened to all that you've said. What would be your advice to the person? What must he or she do?
So first thing is to do the credential evaluation, the course by course evaluation, have your recommendation letters in touch, Make sure you have driver licenses in some cases with at least 2 years experience. Then you have your resume. I
Okay.
always go for the US standard resume
Okay.
for.
So how is the US standard like? If you can share brief
As
information.
Paul said, I think whenever you go for a sample of a resume for maybe a teaching opportunity, a sample, first you need to have your profile, the profile of your resume, your various teaching experiences, then your qualification, then your professional development if necessary. Yeah, I think that these are the most important thing. Or if Paul can add anything to it.
Yeah, Paul, can you add?
Yeah, so those are the key ingredients for the CV.
Okay.
You have your personal details and contact information. You have your work experience, your academic qualifications, and then you also make sure you specify in details your experiences, the classes you've taught at what level, from what period to what period, right? Um, if there are any achievements within the course of your career, you should specify that as well. If you've taken any professional development courses, you make sure you include those ones as well. If you want to put in your references, you can also do that. But if you feel like two pages wouldn't be enough for you to include that, you have other important things you need to put in there, then fair enough. You can just ignore the reference part, and then you will be submitting reference letters anyway.
Yeah.
So
So a quick question about the references.
yeah.
Do they have to take hard copy references, or just like how we do the school application, you get a email of your recommenders and you enter it when you are filling the application, then they will submit the recommendations directly, or you have to get a paper recommendation and upload yourself?
In our case,
You
some
do that.
yeah, you need both. So some will let you upload it, then they will you provide an email link for them to also fill it. So
Okay.
yeah,
And the recommendations, do they accept normal Gmail, Yahoo email,
yeah,
or?
yeah. For them, they understand. Yeah,
Okay.
corporate email is not common back home, so I think they understand.
Okay. Okay. I think Norris is trying to join again. Norris, you are live again. If you have any other question, you can ask, please.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. I just wanted to seek clarification with regards to whether my master's will be necessary. Then also, even though I have a degree in basic education, I am actually practicing and teaching IT in a senior high school. I don't know if that will really bring any be some bring any kind of challenge on my way, just in case.
Yeah. Please let me ask. So most of the times, what they do during the hiring period is what you do teach back home. That's why they want to hire you to teach here. To place, right? So even if you're going for a recommendation letter, I think the referee will just put, okay, the person teaches this subject. For me, for instance, I was teaching high school. I listed algebra one, maybe algebra two, geometry, calculus. That's where they will be hiring me. So they just hire me to come and teach that math. So
Okay.
if maybe you are teaching IT, which predominantly don't select IT teachers, and if you have a diploma or the degree in basic education, which you said with good, I will just go for that. That's my humble suggestion. But they will just want you to, yeah.
Yeah,
So
Norris, were you
yeah,
trying
so
to?
those are times they want to hide what you already teaches back home, so that it's easy for you to translate to their system.
Right. Some of us started from the training college. What really happened was that I started off with teaching science. I taught science for about 12 years before I transitioned to
I think it's his network.
Yeah.
Yeah, Norris, we can hear you. Hello, Norris.
I
Hello,
think that
Yeah,
yeah,
we can hear you. Continue.
please, can you hear me?
yeah,
Yeah, we can hear you. Continue.
Please, can anyone hear me?
Yeah, we
yeah,
can hear you. Continue. We can hear you. Continue.
All right, okay. So I do get feedback, the suggestion. I think it's
Frank,
Yeah.
if I could have his number, okay, his WhatsApp number, so that if he agrees, just let me have it, okay, so that I can send him to a message. Thank you.
a fruitful
Okay.
suggestion. Uh, that
Okay. So Norris, you can just get back to us backstage. We'll share the link with you so that you can contact. Sorry, the contact to you so that you can reach out to him. Okay.
The system back in Ghana is such that I think once you go through the training college, I don't know, it's like you teach almost every subject.
Exactly. That is how
Yeah.
it's classified. For
Okay.
example, I went through the training college system.
Yeah.
I have the diploma in education before I went for my top up degree from Valley View 3 years. So with the
Okay.
diploma, I studied like the general course. So with that, you can teach every subject.
yeah,
But
Okay.
now the way the system has been designed, since it's a degree awarding system now, they've
Yeah.
designed it categorically. Okay, you can study actually social studies, you can study maths, you can study um, like French, you can specialize now. But there are people too who have the opportunity during our time to specialize. For example, St. Francis College of Education. You can go
Yeah.
there, that is Franco. You can study maths there purely or like the sciences there purely, aside the early childhood and the general.
Okay.
Mhm. So I was thinking in that case,
I think over
okay,
here, what happens is they only give employment to you if you have training in a specific area,
yeah, okay,
right? So if even if they want you to teach math or science or whatever, you should have a qualification. You should have at least a degree in math education, so you'll be able to apply for that position.
yeah,
okay,
And it does not, and also here it does not matter at what level you are teaching, if it is middle or high school, once you are a math teacher. And there is even an opportunity for you to transition if you want to. So, for instance, I am in a middle school now.
yeah,
If I have plans of moving to a high school within the district,
okay,
they just send a Google Doc recently where you can make that intention known if you want to move to a high school or whatever, you want to remain in your middle school or you want to change your job description, whatever, you can just indicate that on the form and submit. Yeah. So
okay,
it's pretty much the same thing. So you have the qualification, uh, you have a degree in math education, that makes you fit to teach math. If you know you are okay to teach it at a high school level, you get to the high school level. That is why you do the transcript evaluation. So they see the course by course evaluation, all the courses you took. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. So before we finally wrap up, I'm still pleading that if you are watching us live now, just go and hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel, the Delali Network, before we sign out. So, what would be your final advice to all teachers and professional educators who are watching us worldwide and they want to come on the J-1 visa? What are some of the steps they have to take, and what will be your final advice to them? Let me take Frank first, then I'll sign out with Paul.
oh, okay. Well, I think the most important thing is to get a document as possible. You need to get prepared. Make sure you have your driver license, your evaluation, your transcripts, your English proficiency, your resume. or whatever you need to have before putting in the application. My advice is like, it's an opportunity. An opportunity comes by the saints at once, and it's worth it than where we came from. As educators, I always see myself, or we always see ourselves to make an impact in life, not regarding the environment or the location. Yes, we came here. My objective of coming here as an educator is to put smile on kids' face, make sure how I went through life back in Ghana through my family, I can see some life through the earning I'm making here. So that's my determination. So I encourage everyone or inspire everyone. It's never too late. And when you start, we're definitely going to end it on a good note. And it's worth it of coming here. Even the experience here. Sometimes when I'm on my bed and I'll be going social media, seeing people talking about America, I ask myself, is it America? Which I am? Yeah, that is my experience. Yeah, it is always a good opportunity, and this is where God will also bring some of us so that we can put smart on people's faces, the orphan and the widows, all will be a gift to mankind. So it's worth it. So I encourage everybody to put in an application. We are all there to assist. And I also tell people to just try to put the application on their own. Ghana we lack connection too much. And even if somebody calls you and want to cheat the person, do on your own. And it's in here, don't call you, don't come approach. It's not like that. You know it over here time. But if you put in, you are going to learn things by yourself, and you are going to also assist somebody one way. We should stop looking for connection easy way. We should put in our best, and God is not going to make a way.
Okay. Paul, your final words to our listeners.
Uh, so if you have any intentions of getting on this program, you should start with preparedness, right? So you should be prepared. And we said that preparedness comes in three folds. You have to prepare with your documents, so document preparedness, mental preparedness, and you should also be financially prepared. Once the process goes through, you have your job offer. You should have some cash that you will be traveling with and stuff like that. Yeah, at least for the start over here. So those are the things you should have in place. The rest is to be patient. Be patient with the process, right? It does not just happen within a short period of time. So it takes time. So you have to be patient. And while you wait, do not be discouraged. To make sure you still prepare towards whatever the cost is. Like I said, once you submit your application, you get back to rehearsing those interview questions, right? It's one thing putting in application, and it is another getting a job offer. So when you've waited all this while for the interview and it comes and you fail to perform on the interview and you lose the opportunity, then you've really not achieved what you set out to achieve. So, and who knows, maybe it might take long to get another interview, right? So make sure you're prepared. When the opportunity comes, you go through once and you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Okay. So my final appeal, since you guys are my two good friends, is it okay if we have a platform specifically for those who are ready? And when I say ready, those who have the document will
Yeah,
vet it and see
yeah,
that okay, you are ready. We add you to the page. We
yeah,
share some of these links and opportunities with them so that they can put in the applications. You guide them on the page. Is it okay with you
yeah.
guys?
No, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay. But
So
sometimes, yeah, I'm okay.
so if you are listening to us right now, they both accepted to mentor people who are ready. And when we say ready, it simply means that you have your evaluated transcript, you have your English proficiency letter, you have your certificate, you have your work resume, a good one, and you have your professional recommendation letters, at least three. So we'll be creating the platform. And before you join the platform, we'll need evidences of these documents. Then we'll add you to the platform so that they can mentor you to take it from there. So you can reach out to me on Facebook, you can reach out to me on Twitter, you can reach out to me on WhatsApp, and we'll take it from there. Thank you for joining this live stream, and God bless you for sharing the link and asking people to join. Let's meet same time next week and have a discussion about studying abroad. Have a good day. Bye bye.